Lots of wind to go around, especially West River, where blizzard warnings remain in place for the rest of the day and into the first part of your night. Farther east, not as intense, but still could see a bit of a mess at times, especially up to the northeast. We'll have temperatures for what it's worth right around freezing, if not just a little bit below that or above that in a couple of areas. Lows tonight for what it's worth, 20s with a couple of teens and some lingering moisture, which will stick around East River, especially for Wednesday. We'll talk about that coming up, but until then, midday in KELOLAND starts right now.
Live from KELOLAND Media Group, midday in KELOLAND.
The annual Heroes Behind the Badges blood drive is off to a strong start this holiday season. Plus,
an attack on U.S. service members prompted President Biden to order U.S. airstrikes in Iraq. I'm Nicole Skanga at the White House with the latest on retaliation against Iranian-backed fighters.
Good afternoon, and thanks for having us in. The South Dakota Department of Transportation has announced that both lanes of Interstate 90 from Mitchell to Rapid City reopened at 10 o'clock this morning. No travel advisories do remain in place on some highways across the state. While I-90 has reopened, travelers are advised that the combination of heavy snow and strong winds are causing snowpacked and ice-covered roads, along with blizzard-like conditions. This will continue to create difficult travel conditions throughout the day and well into the evening. Be extra cautious of snow removal equipment on the roadways, reduce your speed, and do not use cruise control. Turning now to a look at your midday forecast with meteorologist Adam Rutt. We knew that winter was eventually going to show up, and here it is, Adam.
Yeah, we paid for the first, 3 weeks of December where we were basically on easy street. This is going to really be the case for the rest of the day, where conditions, especially the farther west and north you go, the more treacherous it is going to become. This is just a look at radar estimated snow cover as of this afternoon. Hard to believe that even just less than a week ago, we had next to nothing on this map. That is very much not the case now, with a lot of locations seeing multiple inches of snow, including reports over toward Vermilion and Tyndall of half a foot. Sioux Falls officially a little less than an inch. Chamberlain had 8 inches of snow. Everywhere between Yankton and Winter, again, 6+ inches of new snow already on the ground. And while we will see a little bit more, a couple of inches here and there, especially West River, the bulk of the concern is going to pivot from the outright snow coming down to the wind, and that is going to very much make its presence known, especially West River. And here's a prime example of what I'm talking about. There's Rapid City, as we have a sustained wind, not a gust, of 45 miles per hour out that way, with an air temperature for what it's worth of 29. And you can see, as a result of all that blowing snow, visibility is very poor out there. We do have air temperatures above freezing in portions of Sisseton as well as Ortonville, 36 and 34 respectively. 31 right now in Sioux Falls, Pierre at 32, Faith 27. We're going to take a look at Aberdeen for one major reason. While we're going to see something a little bit different on radar in just a moment, the moisture that's coming down up in Brown County is pulling down its own cold air. So while yes, the air temperature is 35, we do have snow being observed clearly on our camera looking to the southeast from the campus of Northern State. Winds are going to be the big story. West River, like I said, 25 to 45 miles per hour sustained out of the north, with gusts approaching and exceeding 50 to 55 miles per hour in a couple of areas, including a gust within the last hour in Rapid City of 55 miles per hour. So as a result, we are going to be dealing with some very treacherous conditions, poor visibility, and roads that are going to be at times borderline impassable. If you are going to be out and about, strongly advise, if you can stay home unless it is a dire emergency. The good news, if you're West River, we do have quieter weather to talk about, and it comes around sooner rather than later. We'll go through that in your forecast coming up.
Thank you, Adam. The 28th annual Heroes Behind the Badges blood drive got off to a strong start Friday, collecting 267 units of blood. That's nearly 25% of the total amount of blood donated during last year's event, which is a competition between the Sioux Falls Police Department and Sioux Falls Fire Rescue to see who can earn the most donations. The record of 1,272 donations was set in 2021.
I'm hoping we could break that number this year. That would be so exciting to be able to, potentially even collect that 1,300 mark. We're set up to do it. I mean, we had a great start, and we'll wait and see what happens.
Sioux Falls Fire Rescue has the early lead in the blood drive, 165 to 102. Today, the police department will look to close the gap as 2 blood mobiles are up and running at Shields. We'll hear from a donor about the importance of giving blood tonight on KELOLAND News. Roughly 800,000 people per year in the United States suffer a stroke, according to the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. With the holiday season in full swing, heart attacks and strokes are more common. A Sanford health care professional says remembering simple phrases can help save someone's life.
Strokes can be very tricky. For most people, the way to recognize a stroke is to follow a mnemonic called B FAST. The B in it stands for balance, E for eyes, so if you're seeing double, and FAST basically stands for any facial asymmetry, any weakness in the arms, any speech disturbance of any kind, and the T in it is the most important part because that's time.
In tonight's Eye on KELOLAND, we'll meet a Brandon woman who suffered a stroke and beat the odds, making a full recovery in just a matter of days. U.S. forces carried out an airstrike in Iraq overnight, hitting Iranian-backed militant groups. Nicole Saganga has the details from Washington, D.C.
U.S. forces carried out airstrikes on a militant group based in Iraq. The strikes early Tuesday targeted 3 sites controlled by Kataib Hezbollah, a group backed by Iran. President Biden ordered the strikes, believed to have killed a number of militant fighters. The move was in retaliation for a drone attack on an airbase used by U.S. troops near the city of Erbil. That attack wounded 3 Americans, one of them critically. The Iraqi government condemned the U.S. airstrikes, calling it a hostile act, but the Biden administration says it will do what it takes to protect U.S. personnel based in the region. The Pentagon says militant groups have carried out more than 100 attacks on U.S. forces in Syria and Iraq since Hamas attacked Israel October 7th. The U.S. continues to support Israel in its war against Hamas. Nicole Skanga, CBS News, the White House.
Hezbollah forces in Lebanon have stepped up their attacks in northern Israel, prompting the Israeli government to warn the group to back off.